Remember the old YouTube? As time keeps moving on, as I get older and older, I find that less and less people really remember the old YouTube. Not that YouTube was perfect in the early 2010s and the late aughts, but it felt more connected and alive than it does right now. The current configuration of YouTube feels like it's just kind of like directed pipeline of slop from influencers towards our brains, with the vague promise of money from Google in exchange for either creating slop or watching ads. And it kind of made me think about like what made the old YouTube great. The first thing that made the old YouTube great, and by old YouTube I mean like I don't know, 2014 or so, was the fact that you could direct message people on the platform. I'm not sure like when this was removed. I think it was removed back when Google took over in 2014, 2013, around that time. But back in the day, you could communicate with like fellow creators, viewers, exchange ideas from outside the comment section, spam people to like your videos, spam people to comment on your videos. Obviously, this had to go away as it's kind of like ripe for like trolling and harassment, obviously, right? If you can just direct message people, like I could direct message like, I don't know, somebody famous and be like, oh, I don't like you or whatever. But it was a nice feature to have. And I mean, you can still DM on like Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn and TikTok. So I'm sure being able to DM on YouTube isn't really that bad. It wouldn't be on any of those other platforms either. The second thing I thought that made the old YouTube great was how the homepage was configured. Basically, the homepage is actually kind of based off of like what you watched and mainly based off the people you're subscribed to. Kind of like an algorithm. I'm sure it was still an algorithm at the time, but it's still looking like that right now. But you don't really see the activity of the creators you follow, like the things they like, for example. And this was nice because you could like seek out new people to follow based on what your subscriber liked. Now it's kind of like TikTok where you're like, or just recommended whatever is deemed like for you, whether you like the video or not. And it's kind of like annoying. Like I don't really like it a whole lot, and it just kind of seems like following people and like, I don't know, it just seems like less and less relevant. Like it's just only thing that's relevant right now is just the algorithm. The third thing kind of leading into that was that like subs used to matter a lot more, especially if someone big was subbed to you and liked your videos. Like imagine if like Asmon Girl or Critical were following you and liking your content, and millions of their subs were getting the notification of your video since they liked it. Like how much traction you would actually get. And that used to happen a lot back in the day. Like White Boy 7 Streeter, Woody's gamer tag would like your video, and because they liked your video, like thousands of people would pour in. And I actually had some real world examples of this like actually happening to me personally. Like way back in the early 2010s, I had like a I was a kid just messing around the internet, and I had like a commentary channel similar to kind of what I have now, maybe with kind of lower production quality, but that's just because you can record gameplay like actually on your PS5 now. Anyways, I had Shoe Nice like a couple of my videos, and what he used to do, Shoe Nice is a lot of things, but like way back in the day, he was pretty cool. Like you could just like send him a direct message, say, hey, Shoe Nice, can you like my video and like comment on it? And he'd be like, sure, yeah. And he'd just go do it. And he had like 200,000 subs at the time, which was huge back then. And then everyone would just pour in, and like you just get a lot of support like right off the bat, really just like only because you asked Shoe Nice to like your video. The fourth thing was the authenticity of the content. I feel like this is something that really can't come back, at least in a large number, because of the sheer amount of money that comes into the platform of YouTube as opposed to like, back in the day. There will probably be tons of like niche small creators that are relatable, like, kind of how I hope to be, but, and a lot of the people in the COD commentary as well. But these will be people you have to seek out. And also the amount of people uploading to YouTube, everyone is too like siloed in to go watch someone like Chad Warden, the GOAT, by the way, of trolling on YouTube like in the old days. And there isn't like this huge like collective like consciousness of like everyone watching the same video and having kind of the same like, I don't know, shared joke. Although to be fair, there is a video of like some chud looking guy who tried to break into somebody's house and like basically just freaked out the front door. And to be fair, everyone is talking about that guy, so maybe that is making a comeback. I don't know, but like it's also that people are just like way too like spread out on the platform now. Like people have like, there's like tastemakers, right? Like millions of subs, and like in the early 2010s, if you had 1 million subs, like that was considered like huge. Like maybe a couple people had that. Now it's like there's probably people with tens of millions of subs that you've like never even heard of. And I think it just kind of like the amount of people that have come in just kind of has normalized, I guess, YouTube, and kind of made everything just kind of more corporate and just kind of stale. And that kind of makes into like what specifically is making YouTube lonely. And I think that one of the reasons is the reliance on the algorithm definitely drives nearly all people uploading videos and saying, like for me, for example, I'm also trying to figure out like what's the best way to increase watch time, thumbnails, what topics to cover, because I'm trying to like max out views like everyone else on this platform. And for me, it's for the love of the game right now, but that's just because I have no like reach really. So like, of course I'd say that. Whereas someone who's bigger is probably trying to do it to get monetized. And I'd be lying if I said like getting monetized wasn't one of the goals of this channel. And I think that's just natural for anybody. Like if there's actually some sort of profit method that you can realistically see when you're like creating videos and stuff, that's always going to be something you shoot towards. So I really don't hate on anybody trying to make a living, although I do kind of really think e-bagging and stuff is kind of a poor taste, but that's just kind of a personal thing. Another thing that makes YouTube kind of lonely is like you're always just focused on the number going up mentality. Like I said, the goal of all this is to kind of, be like a narcissistic self-expression. That's kind of the 1A reason, but 1B be is definitely to make the number go up by any means possible, and feels like everyone's just kind of focusing on that, no matter if a million subs or if 1,000 subs. Very few people make content just for making content anymore. And it's kind of like how you get things like car YouTubers turning into like pop culture commentators, or sports YouTubers branching out, if you want to call it that, and start talking about like which Pokemon's their favorite, or everyone's talking about like the newest Pokemon drop, even though they're like 40 years old. It's all just to make the number go up and just kind of what's trending and like what's going to grab views. And also AI content is another reason why YouTube feels like so lonely, because it's not even like actual human beings. And it feels like over half the videos I see pop up on my feed nowadays are just AI slot videos where some guy took a Wikipedia article and just like sent it through like an AI voice program prompt to produce a script. And this gets repeated on a mass scale, creating this kind of deluge of videos like this. And the real concerning part is like some of the videos actually are kind of well done, and this raises the concern that AI will eventually take over like the entire human aspect of YouTube entirely. Like, for example, there is like a history channel that I've kind of been watching, and I know it's AI, like it's clearly an AI channel, but it kind of like reconstructs like what you would think like a ancient village would be like what ancient Rome was like in 200 BC or whatever, or what Constantinople was like during the 600s or what, things like that. And it's kind of well done, and it's kind of scary at the same time, because that's actually entertaining. Like, imagine TV, but instead of like watching, I don't know, like sports or something, you're watching like an AI reproduction of sports, and that's like better because it's got more drama and it looks better and looks more polished, even though it's completely stiff and fake and not even real people, and that's kind of a cyberpunk fear that everyone has nowadays relating to AI. But anyways, can you even fix like the loneliness problem on YouTube? I think there's a couple of, I don't want to say solutions, but things we're kind of moving towards that may help address this, at least to some extent. I think streaming is kind of one of these things. It's kind of parasocial, but it does kind of foster a community of some sort of during streams. Like Asmongold fans probably have some sort of like kinship through shared memes and things like that, and other big streamers. But it's not like a permanent solution. It's also kind of debatable if the people who are streaming even like the audience, right? There's like plenty of examples of like abusive like e-begging that I've definitely seen, where people like hold the stream like at ransom in order to like keep streaming if they hit a certain donation target. One of the examples that comes to mind is like I'm not going to name the streamer, but there's like a streamer that has like tons of subs. You can probably guess who it is, where they do like, oh, I'll put on a vest if I get $300. Guys, we're $50 away. I'm not going to want to stream if I don't get my money to put the vest on. You guys really see the vest, right? Like, just something really dumb like that. And I find such poor taste to just like try to hold your audience like hostage, more or less, just to like try to squeeze money out of them. Also, I don't think YouTube really wants to fix the loneliness problem. The main point of the platform is to deliver ads to people, and the content that you watch is really just a delivery mechanism for the ads. If the content's good, I guess, or the content is like notable enough for people to watch it, they'll remember it, and it doesn't really matter. Basically, YouTube probably isn't that concerned if the site is good, just if the money from ad sponsors keep coming in, which means that it's a business, so at the end of the day, they just need to make money, and ultimately they don't care. As long as money's coming in, everything could be AI slop, and YouTube wouldn't really care, outside of like maybe some minor backlash from like, creators and things like that. I do like the community tab. I don't really use it, but it also kind of feels like it's engaging for the sake of engagement. Like, they'll quote like a relatable post or something, but it can be used for good as far as like kind of fostering a community, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people do this. They ask for like ideas or stuff through the community tab or community post or whatever on their YouTube channels. And it's kind of nice because it kind of gives like a potluck style to producing like content and videos that people want to see on the YouTube channel. I'm not sure if I'll ever do that, because quite frankly, my channel is more just me like riffing off the top of my head about things that I find interesting in the world. So I don't know, maybe someday I'll ask for like ideas and stuff when I run out of them, but for right now I got plenty of ideas, so I'm not really too worried about that. Also, in short, just kind of sum it up, I'm not sure there's like actually a real problem with the loneliness from the concept of like just getting ads to people, so YouTube probably won't fix it or do anything about it. In fact, kind of a depressing thought, but it'll probably just get worse and it'll get more AI. But what can we as, I don't know, an audience do about it? I think one is like to stop spending so much time on YouTube and actually go live life. I know I'm making a YouTube video right now, and I'm asking you, even though I'm not really asking you, to like watch my content and stuff and subscribe and like and comment and all that. So, I am being like pretty hypocritical there, but watch my videos only. Don't watch anybody else. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's like, it's kind of hard since a lot of our peers live like via Discord, YouTube, and Instagram to like kind of stop the slop and like get away from this kind of internet life. And, younger Gen Z and like, I guess Gen Alpha coming up pretty much live almost exclusively on the internet. But I think the older YouTube was just kind of a flash in the pan, not something that really was going to hold on for a long period of time. Like the golden age of YouTube, and I'm just going to put out random years here, was probably from like 2006 to like maybe 2014. And that was like a whole 8 years. Whereas it's been 12 years since 2014. So like the period that we consider to be like crappy YouTube is actually like 1.5 times more time than the actual golden age of YouTube. So it's just kind of a flash in the pan in my opinion, but that's all I got for now. If you like the video, please like, subscribe. You know, if you want to comment. If you want to tell me how much this video sucked, that's cool too. And later.